Thank you, everybody. This is another great day for our city. Today, we're very, very honored to have the governor of our state here to announce the latest in what's been a wonderful series of MassWorks announcements for our city and for our state. And I'm going to leave the details to the governor and to Chairman Brian Dempsey. But let me start by introducing some of the other elected officials who have taken the time out to be here today, because downtown redevelopment and downtown revitalization wouldn't happen without a team of everybody working together. First and foremost, Governor Baker, whom you'll hear from in just a minute. Thank you, Governor Baker, for being with us today. This is actually quite a day where we have the governor and lieutenant governor both here. The lieutenant governor will be here for something entirely different tonight, so we're very honored to have him. Our entire... She might say something. Our entire legislative delegation is here, led by Chairman Dempsey, whom you'll hear from in a minute. Senator Ives can't be here for a pretty good reason. She's due to have her first child any day now, but her assistant Dennis is here. Where's Dennis? State Representative Linda Dean Campbell, Representative DeZoglio, Representative Mira, and of course Chairman Dempsey are all here, and I want to thank them very, very much. Every member of the City Council that could make it, some couldn't get out of work, are here, and I want to introduce them. I hope I don't miss anybody. Vice President of the Council, Melinda Barrett, Councilor Andy Vargas, Councilor Joe Bevilacqua, Councilor Colin LePage, and Councilor Tom Sullivan. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I know there were several members of the school committee here, Maura Ryan Chiadello and Sean Toohey. I also want, these are public-private partnerships, so I want to introduce and thank the members of the private development team from the Planning Office of Urban Affairs and from the Havel Foundation. Sally Sarasolo O'Rourke, where is Sally? Had tremendous leadership and vision. Ron Trombley and Lisa Alberghini, their leadership and vision has made this project possible, and I want to thank them very, very much for being here. I told you it's a team effort that has made all this happen. Now, we started about a dozen years ago, meeting in a vacant parking lot downtown, in an abandoned parking lot in an abandoned shoe factory, where we used big words. We said, well, this is the start of the Havel Renaissance. And Bill Pillsbury, who can't be here today, looked at me and said, what? But it's worked out just wonderfully. And it's because of all of the folks here who have worked so hard. We started with rezoning. And a lot of people said at that time, why did you start at that end of town? And the answer was simple. That was easier. It didn't have the infrastructure that was required, and we didn't have the chairman of Ways and Means at the time. So we started down there. We rezoned. When we ran into a problem with parking, we were able to turn to our federal and state delegations. And 5 years ago, yesterday, we opened the new parking garage on the other end of downtown. We've opened a new boardwalk and refurbished the existing one, which we connected up to. We had $175 million in new investment in the downtown. Now, a few years ago, the chairman at that time of the Greater Havel Chamber of Commerce, this is the only event in 12 years I've been to, he hasn't been here, Jim Jajuga, said, what we need is a longer boardwalk. And we went in to talk to Brian Dempsey about making a pitch for a new boardwalk. Representative Dempsey, once, as he has so many times, came to our aid, made a pitch to the state for the money to put in the boardwalk that I'm standing on today. We had great success in the other part of downtown with a great development team at the Planning Office of Urban Affairs, whom you're also going to hear from. And we introduced them to the foundation a few years ago, and they took a look at the Woolworth building and agreed to buy the building, but only if they could make a deal with some of the surrounding owners. And they did a fabulous job of working with those owners, working out all of the kinks in the details, and making that happen. Then we worked with two successive governors, members of our great legislative team, especially the chairman of Ways and Means, and we've now received with today's announcement a total of $29 million in MassWorks money. It makes this boardwalk that I'm standing on and this project right here possible. It wouldn't have happened without it. This $29 million has led to leverage for $85 million in private investment. The MassWorks money that's being announced today has made it possible for the construction of over 80 new housing units to fulfill the vision that someday people would live, eat, and work in the downtown area. Today's announcement allows our private developers to create another phase of fantastic development and add more housing, more storefront restaurants and retail space, and to move this project to the next level. Now, these grants are called transformative development grants, and it's for a reason that they have that word. Today's announcement allows us to bring people to live on Merrimack Street to fulfill a vision we had a decade ago. Today's announcement allows us to restore Merrimack Street to its vibrancy that it had 50 years ago. And today's announcement and the previous MassWorks announcements allow us to once again to reconnect to the river as we did a century ago. Today's announcement will allow us to stand here and see another great state project made possible because of our legislative team and our governor, the rail trail right across the way. But today's announcement isn't just about the past, it's about the future. Today's announcement allows us to provide the infrastructure improvements to improve beyond Harbor Place and to commence with the next phase of great development. Today's development wouldn't happen without two critical people. The first is our own Santa Claus, who's come to the assistance of our city on so many different occasions.
I have put weight on recently.
It's the beard, Brian, it's the beard. And whose vision for Harbor Place and leadership made this project happen. You'll hear from him in a minute, Chairman Brian Dempsey. And it wouldn't happen today without our governor, whose vision for gateway cities and hard work has made this happen. Now, when Governor Baker took office, I have to admit, don't take any offense to this governor, but I was a little nervous. Governor Baker and I had met before he took office, and he said all of the right things, but no offense, they all do. But he's lived up to his promises. He promised that he would listen to mayors and that he would listen to us. He promised that he would not cut local aid, and he lived up to that promise. He promised that he would work with us, and it would have been an easy thing. This was a project started in a previous administration, but he promised us that he would do the right thing for our city, and he lived up to that promise. He promised that he would continue the MassWorks program, and he did. He lived up to his promises, and it's because of Governor Baker's leadership that we are here today. Today's great announcement wouldn't be possible without the governor of this state, and I am deeply, deeply honored to introduce today a friend of the city of Haverhill, Governor Charlie Baker. Wow.
Now, I'm told that the letter doesn't have a check in it, but the check's in the mail. Well, first of all, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much for hosting us all here today, and congratulations on your continued success as the mayor of Haverhill. I think you became the mayor of Haverhill about the time I started going to high school, and it's amazing your longevity and your success. I also want to thank all the members of the legislative delegation who are here today, and the many folks who've been involved in this project for the past few years. The mayor, what he didn't mention is when I came up to visit, he did exactly as he described there, which is we started way down on that end and then worked our way all the way up to this end. And he basically, I don't know if this was the plan or not, but the way that worked was I had a chance to see what a lot of the earlier finished product looked like, so that when we came to this site here, which at that point was very much a work in progress, I would have some sense already in my mind about what it might look like after the work got done. If we'd started here, I'm not sure I would have seen and been able to see exactly what the end game would look like. But the fact that we're here today may be a surprise to him, but it's not a surprise to me. Okay? I mean, I'm a former member of my Board of Selectmen in Swampscott. Karen Polito, the Lieutenant Governor, is a former member of her Board of Selectmen in Shrewsbury. And we made very clear to almost everybody we talked to that we wanted to have what I would describe as that local point of view in our administration, which is why Jay Ash, who's the Secretary of Housing and Economic Development, was perfectly qualified because he'd spent 16 years as the city manager in Chelsea, and why his undersecretary, Carolyn Kirk, was also qualified because she'd spent many years in Gloucester in local government, as well as just finishing up her term as mayor of Gloucester. Juan Vega, who's with us today and works on this program out of HED, was also a local official in Chelsea. Crystal Cornegay, who runs the Department of Housing and Community Development, ran a community development corporation before she joined our administration. Nam Pham, who runs the Mass Business Development Office, ran a community development corporation. Are you getting the message here? It was very important to us, very important to Karen and me, that we have folks on our team who know what this stuff looks like from the ground up. Because when you ask most people how they feel about how things are going in the Commonwealth, they really don't answer that based on how they think things are going on Beacon Hill. They answer that based on how they think things are going in their neighborhood, in their community. That's how people feel about how things are going. And Karen and I have said more than once that from our point of view, how things are going in Massachusetts is a function of how the cumulative sensibility of life in 351 cities and towns is going across the Commonwealth. And that's why we worked with our colleagues in the legislature to put together a municipal modernization bill. 200 pages of weed whacking, no doubt about that, but it was also the most significant update in municipal finance and municipal operation and municipal statutes in 50 years. And you talk to almost anybody who works in local government, and they'll tell you that point blank, this makes their capacity to do their job, to be effective, and to get work done in their communities dramatically less complicated than it used to be. And that's why my first executive order was an executive order to create community compacts with the Commonwealth cities and towns, and why we signed the LG up as the lead charge on that. And at this point in time, we have community compacts, which are sort of best practice opportunities, signed with 235 communities in the Commonwealth. And by the way, if you're participating in that compact program, you get points when you bid on stuff like MassWorks. And it also has to do with why we made the decision to significantly increase the state's participation in the MassWorks program. Both Karen Polito and I see that program as one of the most important, most flexible, best ways we can help cities and towns on housing development, economic development, downtown development, and development generally. And for us, it's a wonderful tool that can be used by us, working in conjunction and collaboration with our colleagues in local government, to leverage private development and local development for stuff like this. Now, this is a $9 million MassWorks grant. That's a big number, folks. But what you ought to know about that is that this was a really competitive process. We had about even with the increases that we've offered in our capital budget to support the MassWorks program, we still had about 2.5 times in dollar value applications relative to what we could afford to fund. And that meant it was hugely competitive, which meant the best projects rose to the top of the pile. And I must say to the mayor, to his development team, and to the folks who've been involved in this initiative, you folks did a terrific job. You put your best foot forward. You worked out a program and a set of proposals that we found particularly compelling, especially in the context of the proven success you've had to date in developing and implementing this riverfront. And we're pleased to be able to fund this. I do want to say how much I appreciate the work that's done by this delegation generally, and I especially appreciate, I've never heard anybody call the chairman of Ways and Means Santa Claus. Frankly, most of the time, it's kind of been on the opposite end. But you have a terrific legislative delegation. They work enormously hard on your behalf, and I wouldn't be doing justice if I stood here and didn't point out that every time I see Sally O'Rourke says two things to me. Where am I from? And I say, Haverhill, Sally, you're from Haverhill. And the other thing she says, and what do we care about? And I say, Harbor Place, Sally, I know, Harbor Place. There she is, yeah. But this is a wonderful team effort. You folks have really persevered over a significant period of time and pursued a vision that I know for some of you dates back 10, 15, 20 years. But it's the right vision, and it's the right place, and it's the right set of projects and initiatives, and we're enormously proud to be here and be part of this. So thank you all very much. And Mr. Mayor, again, congratulations to you and your team, and congratulations to the delegation as well.
Thank you very much, Governor. I blew it. I'm not used to emceeing events. I was supposed to introduce Representative Dempsey, was supposed to introduce the governor, and I apologize for the slip-up.
You can feel free to say a few nice things.
And I will, Gov, I will.
I blew it. Well, my next introduction is for a longtime friend whose leadership and vision have made Haverhill a better place and made this project possible. Brian Dempsey used to joke that I had him on speed dial, but actually it was only a joke that I used to call and lobby him. I had him on speed dial. Actually, I appreciated the compliment, but it really wasn't true. You never had to lobby Brian Dempsey for anything because he was our lobbyist with the state to make things happen for us. It was Brian Dempsey who lobbied for UMass Lowell to be the anchor tenant in Harbor Place. It was Brian Dempsey who lobbied through the two administrations to bring $29 million in infrastructure improvement to make Harbor Place and all of this happen. It was Brian Dempsey's leadership and vision that made this project happen, and without Brian Dempsey, neither this project nor this event today would be happening. So it's my great pleasure, I hope I get this right finally, I'm supposed to introduce you, to introduce our friend, our champion, the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, Brian Dempsey.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mayor. What a great day, isn't it? Isn't this yet another great day for our great city? Yeah. Where are you from, Sally? Today we're all from Swampscott. Let me first begin by thanking the mayor for his very, very kind comments. This truly has been and is a great example of a partnership. The mayor, the city council, I see members of the school committee, our local business leaders, all of us coming together to move Haverhill forward and to advance Haverhill and to move us to the next level. So I want to thank the mayor and the council for their work in making this all possible. And I want to, before I talk a little bit about the project, I do want to acknowledge the great leadership of our great governor. Charlie Baker has been a tremendous leader. I have the opportunity to meet with him regularly in what we call these Monday leadership meetings. And it's not only an honor and a privilege to be part of that, but it's an opportunity to see firsthand how engaged he is, how smart he is, and what a strong leader he has been and will continue to be for the Commonwealth. So please acknowledge the governor once again. And Santa Claus wants to thank Santa Claus, Governor Baker, for writing the big check for us. Because as we look at this project, and it's hard to believe, if you just turn for a moment and look at this, it's really hard to believe that for over 50 years, the Woolworth building laid vacant. And we always knew that it would require a project of scale. We always wanted to have a boardwalk. We've all talked about it for decades. And it really took a great team to come together. And you've heard a lot about the role of state government. But really, without the commitment of the Greater Haverhill Foundation, and Sally, and Ron Trombley, and the entire board, Vinny, committing to not only undertaking this project, but several years ago buying the Woolworth property when everyone thought they were crazy for $1.5 million, because they had a vision and they knew that if they acquired that parcel and had site control, that could lead to something significant. And along came their partnership with Planning Office for Urban Affairs, Lisa Alberghini, Bill Grogan, their board, a tremendous team. And let me tell you something, I joked, well, it wasn't really a joke. I said, the easy part was getting the money. The hard part was what you all did and have done and will continue to do in overseeing the construction of this beautiful project every single day. So I want to acknowledge that great partnership, that great team. Without that, we're not here today. And I also want to acknowledge the partnership with UMass Lowell. Delighted to have the team from UMass here today. Years ago when we started the conversation, years ago, about UMass coming to Haverhill, it was a rainy Friday night. It was. I'm going to tell the story. I was in the middle of my second budget, and we needed some commitment, and we were able to get a commitment, and we moved forward with that. And of course, the great legislative delegation. I get a lot of focus because of my role as chair of Ways and Means, but I have to tell you that Senator Katie Ives, who she and her husband Jeff are expecting their first child any day, I think. Representative Linda Dean Campbell, Representative Diana DeZoglio, and Representative Lenny Mira are a great team and great partners for me in the legislature. So please acknowledge their great work as well. And with that, again, thank you all for the role that you play in making this happen. Again, a special thanks to the governor, who's not only, again, a great leader, but he's fun to work with most of the time. Gov, as long as we're doing the right things on the budget, energy, economic development, and a number of other issues. Thank you very, very much. Wait a minute. It's tough when you don't have the script. But we want to, on behalf of the entire team, we want to present this to the governor. I have no idea if this is going to fit him. It's hard enough being in the same picture with this guy because of his height. But Gov, thank you on behalf of the entire city of Haverhill for your great commitment to us and to the project. Thank you very much. He's not going to, oh, here we go. Here we go. A little encouragement. Come on, another round of applause. Let's go. Let's go. Well, now, you notice the tie matches. You wonder, was this planned? I don't know. We could speculate. Thank you once again, Gov. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for everything. It's my pleasure now to introduce, again, several members of the team. And I mentioned Planning Office for Urban Affairs. We are, again, very fortunate of the partnership. Lisa Alberghini has not only led the Planning Office for Urban Affairs and has been there since 2001, but she is a respected statewide figure when it comes to housing. Not only is she active with this project, but her respect across the Commonwealth has brought her into my office a number of times, advocating for so many programs and policies relative to housing here in the Commonwealth. Her level of commitment to this project has been extraordinary. Every single day, again, going back a few years now, I can't say enough about Lisa and her great work on this project, the great partnership with Planning Office for Urban Affairs. It's my honor to introduce Lisa Alberghini. Lisa, come on up. Thank you. Lisa already has her coat on. Here we go.
Thank you so much, Chairman Dempsey. Yes, and I'll make it short. Thank you. I appreciate your kind words, but we all know that we're only here today because of, first and foremost, really because of the Chairman's vision, leadership, and hard work, and we cannot thank you enough for that, Chairman Dempsey. The Greater Haverhill Foundation and our office, the Planning Office for Urban Affairs, the developers of Harbor Place, are honored to be here, and we're grateful to the Governor, particularly for his tremendous commitment to economic development in the city of Haverhill. Harbor Place, Phase 1, what you're looking at, has already been a game changer. But with the help of the Governor today, Phase 2 will secure the investment already made and bring this vision to an entirely different level, helping assure the success of Haverhill's future. We'd like to thank Mayor Fiorentini, who's been a strong supporter of our work at every step of the way, and Bill Pillsbury, who's not here today, but I do want to say thank you to Bill. He's been fabulous as well. And as I've said many times before, again, we would be absolutely nowhere without Chairman Dempsey's help. And there's something, it's always hard. I've introduced him a number of times. It's hard to think of different things because I've covered a lot of who he is, but his brand of leadership, deliberate, thoughtful, incredibly hardworking, and totally focused on outcomes for the benefit of this Commonwealth is more and more rare. though he clearly shares those traits with Governor Baker. They both have a leadership style that is intense, really intense, this very intense passion for getting things done. Because of Chairman Dempsey and the Commonwealth, the people of Haverhill have watched Harbor Place rising from the old Woolworth site, and they can now, as we've said, see the Merrimack River from downtown for the first time in 180 years, 100 years. Thank you for all you've done again, Chairman Dempsey. Appreciate it. But in addition to helping Haverhill, I wanted to also point out that the Chairman's and the Commonwealth's work has a very purposeful focus on the region. It has helped to find and bring energy to the river cities along the Merrimack. And so I think it's important that we all know, and that, again, we want to thank Governor Baker for his support here, because it will have a regional impact far beyond Haverhill. Governor Baker's work throughout the Commonwealth to advance the economic prospects of every single city and town is unparalleled. There have been programs and efforts before, but the seriousness of the governor's focus and his commitment is different. The challenges he makes to cities and towns to step up and the standard he holds himself to is different. I was fortunate enough to be at the Massachusetts Boston Housing Partnership event last week when Governor Baker received the Lowell Richards Award, and it was so appropriate. A 2012 Boston Globe article described Lowell Richards as devoted, tireless, brilliant, and caring. It said he shunned the limelight and was a rare combination of public visionary and technocrat who devoted his life to public service. Those words describe Governor Baker as well, and we are so thankful that he has committed that character and talent to Haverhill. Most importantly, we are thankful for the governor and the legislature through the work of Chairman Dempsey, working together to get things done. Somehow in a tough budget year, again, for the Commonwealth, you managed to make a clear, consistent investment in critical programs like this one. Thank you, Governor Baker, and thanks to everyone from EOHED. Erica and Juan both, we're very grateful. I have to say one thing, I'm getting the sign from Sally, but I'm going to say before I finish that I know you'll hear from Ron Trombley very shortly. I have to say something about the unsung hero of Harbor Place, Sally O'Rourke. We all know she is the behind-the-scenes energy and passion that got Harbor Place off the ground, and she continues to drive us all to success. Sally doesn't talk about getting things done, she gets things done. She too stays out of the limelight. And lastly, I just want to say that you will also hear from Sal Lipoli, a fabulous business person, a tremendously creative entrepreneur, and we are thrilled to have him working side by side with us here in downtown Haverhill. So, all of this positive change, the reinvestment, the transformation, strengthening the downtown, creating economic opportunity, all of this, for all of this, we want to thank you, Governor Baker. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Lisa, and again, thank you for your great leadership and the great partnership. I'll tell you a quick story about Sally. She does drive us. She does drive us crazy sometimes, but this was years ago when she was head of the chamber. She said, you know, if I could get $50,000 to do this Haverhill Means Business program, it would be wonderful. And we had a meeting, and then she wanted to have a second meeting and a third meeting, and I said, here's the deal, Sally. We'll get you the money, but no more meetings, okay? But she's passionate, as we know, as is Lisa, so thank you very much. I'm delighted to also introduce this afternoon another very well-known, strong leader here in the Merrimack Valley. It's hard to believe that in 1990, he started with one pizza shop, Sal's Pizza Shop, many, many years ago, and has built, with a great deal of vision, hard work, and tenacity, a major company here in the Merrimack Valley, employing over 1,000 individuals, 1,000 people. Sal, as you know, is not only known for his work in the restaurant industry, but it's really real estate. And when you go to the city of Lawrence and look at what he was able to do, by taking an old mill building, vacant for decades, Sal Lipoli came in and had a vision that very few had. And he saw something there. And not only did he invest a significant amount of money, but he continued to buy all of the buildings in the area and turned it into Riverwalk properties. And I think all of us, and I think Mayor Fiorentini will acknowledge that all of us have thought about Sal Lipoli coming to the city of Haverhill. with not only his vision, but his money. And the pizza, Joey, right? Because Joey's talked about this for years. And as the chair of the Merrimack Valley Chamber, Joe has always talked about Sal and his work. But again, it's trying to attract continued investment into Haverhill. Part of today's MassWorks grant will allow for further development this side of Merrimack Street. As the governor acknowledges, the role of government is to provide those funds to be a catalyst for investment. The MassWorks monies will allow for those infrastructure improvements to occur that will hopefully lead to continued investment. And one of the folks that we hope makes an investment is Sal Lapoli. So please give a warm welcome to my good friend, Sal Lapoli.
You mean 22 minutes?
Wait, who's got the plug?
First of all, I want to thank a few people. I want to start off by how did I end up in Haverhill? How did I end up in Haverhill buying real estate on Merrimack Street? Is a direct result of Mayor Fiorentini, who actually drove me around in his convertible looking at property one day, picking out you should buy that, you should buy that, or you should buy that. And I think what's so exciting, Governor, is the passion that this community has. And I saw that passion when I went and met with Michael J. Sullivan in Lawrence, Massachusetts, and he believed that people can transform things no matter what the history says. That's what it's all about. Because if people were to come to you and tell you that someday Lawrence would have a facility that now houses over 5,000 employees, is the single largest taxpayer in the entire city, more than any utility companies, has over 200 companies and $250 million investment, and it happened in less than 12 years, people might say, can't be done. But it happened strictly for one reason. This is what happens when public and the private sector come together. This project today, right now, Governor, I have purchased real estate on Merrimack Street. I am committed to a project. I am excited about building restaurants on this boardwalk. I am excited about job creation for one reason. Because the state of Massachusetts believes in it, sir. Because the state of Massachusetts stepped up and put their money up on the table to create the spark. As a result of the spark you created, look what we have here today. As a result of the spark you created, you're going to see at the end of this boardwalk some wonderful opportunities if given the chance. And I'd be remiss if I don't thank my dear friend, Brian Dempsey, who, he's exactly right. As I was driving around in the car with the mayor, I sat down with Brian. Brian said, Sal, what can we do to support you to try to bring a little bit of that magic from Lawrence up to Haverhill? And I think what's so exciting is Brian didn't say, how do we take away from Lawrence? Brian said, how do we add to Haverhill? And that's what this delegation is all about. That's why it's so successful. That's why I get like energized when I'm in front of these opportunities, because I look in the audience and I see people that are coming together and believing. State delegations, I see governors, I see chairman of the Ways and Means, people that are here for one reason, to create jobs and opportunity. Hopefully we'll be able to make an announcement very shortly. We're certainly going to tell you we're going to put a restaurant right on this boardwalk a little further down as a result of the MassWorks grant. As a result of that spark, we're going to come here with our opportunity. I'm asking this mayor, I'm asking this wonderful city council, I'm asking everybody here, can give the Lapoli companies, give us an opportunity to show us you and the entire city, and certainly make our governor proud of what we can do in your city. We promise to do a couple of things. We promise to work really hard. We promise we're a family operation with family values. We're going to hire a lot of people. We're going to create some market rate housing, hopefully down the road a little bit. But more than that, more than anything, we just want to become a part of your community. And this is how it starts. Because of the MassWorks grant, because of this governor, because of this state delegation, and because of our chairman of Ways and Means and our mayor of the great city of Haverhill. So with that, I'm getting my hook right now. Sally's about to push me right over this railing. So thank you very much on behalf of my mother and my father, my brother, my entire family. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, Sal's energized, huh? Wow. We apologize to the governor because we have all, myself included, added time to this. We have one more speaker, and it's so important, again, to highlight. No, come on up for 1 second, Ron. It's important because without, again, the vision and the partnership of the Greater Haverhill Foundation, and again, particularly Ron's strong leadership on a daily basis, this wouldn't be happening. So, Ron Trombley, Greater Haverhill Foundation, thank you for everything.
It's about brief. Welcome to the Port of Haverhill. If that doesn't shock you, then Harbor Place is a success. All right, that's the message. And Brian, we sat a little over 3.5 years ago in your office Friday night, 7 o'clock, and the issue was, what's it going to take to get this thing done? And we shared a vision. And all I want to say now, in the next 60 to 90 days, 80 families are moving in here. 54,000 square feet of commercial space going to be occupied during 2017 to work and to recreate and to live here. And that's what it's all about. Welcome to the Port of Haverhill.
Thank you, Ron. And again, thank all of you. On behalf of Mayor Fiorentini, our elected officials, the delegation, again, a very special thank you to Governor Charlie Baker and his team. And thanks again, Gov, for coming out, and thank you for your commitment. Thank you all for being here today. Great things. Great things.